What is this book all about, and why should people read this book? What do you think? I mean, they will be getting if they read this book.
Today we are talking more about our cultural history as how India was in 3000 years back. We are not ready to talk about how we are suffering now and how the large section of people taking privilege and taking credit of all, which is good. Every person must take a pride in their root from where they come. But when this very approach tries to dominate the very future, then you are trying to put the future at stake.
You know that corruption is the main cause, I would say, because we know that our country is fast developing, और भी अच्छा हो सकता है, and we will become developed in no time if everything is going on fine. Nobody is corrupt.
यहाँ पर दीपांकर गुप्ता बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट बात बोलते हैं जो हम लोगों को समूह को जानना चाहिए, ये कि ही टॉक्स अबाउट मॉडर्निटी इज नॉट अबाउट दिस व्हाट डू वी नो. सो जो अभी तक मैंने कहा है वो मॉडर्निटी एग्जैक्टली में है नहीं. देन व्हाट इट इज, देन ही सेज व्हाटएवर वी नो अबाउट दिस मॉडर्निटी is not the modernity but the outcome of the modernity.
Ravin, welcome again. And this is our video on a book review. And the book is Mistaken Modernity by Dipankar Gupta. And the book tells us about the kind of modernity which we have taken it for. Because generally it is seen that whenever you ask anybody that what do you mean by modernity? So I think they have a different definition. And this definition is completely different from what it really is. And what modernity exactly means. So this is something which this book talks about, and we will also be talking about what kind of lessons we can derive from this book, right? So before we take a deep dive into the video, let me tell this to the audience that they should be reading this book if they want to know what exactly means. And this book has been written in the context of people of India.
Right.
What do they think modernity is all about? So, before we take a deep dive, just I want you to say a little about this book, and then we'll be going deeper into the whole book.
Okay, first of all, talking about books, the book highlights the major concerns. I think these concerns are already in the public domain. Many people know about these concerns. But the fact is, this book extends to this particular concern to a next level, where it talks about the fundamental causes. So we have problem in India, and these problems have been persisting for several years. And we are all trying harder to eliminate and remove these problems so that we could really become a developed countries like other Western countries. But where we are missing is to exactly spot those fundamental setbacks, the fundamental weaknesses. So we know that these are the concerns. For example, the book talks about corruption. The book talks about marriage. The book also talks about religion,
Castes, caste,
caste,
and marriages as
yes,
well. Yes.
religion being misused, and politicians taking benefits out of this religion. So this book is dealing and covering everything which are common concerns, but it advances this further by bringing some new points in the light, telling that if we spot these points and if we just see those points and try to work on this is possibility in few years that yes, we might be able to cope with this kind of situation. Yes, we may not completely subdue the problems, but significantly we can tackle it. And I think this is what is the requirement. So this book is usually highlighting concerns and with its root in fundamental causes in a more different manner we haven't heard. So I have heard these concerns before, read many political science and economic related books, but the way Dipankar Gupta, the author of the book, represents these very concerns in a more new light, I think first of all mesmerizes, and it actually throws the very a fresh interpretation of those concerns. So I think this is what makes this book very captivative among especially youth. and many people really don't know about this book, but this certainly is must read book, and I think people must at least buy this book and read it once for better experience about the things. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm damn sure this book targets the deep-seated, misunderstandings about modernity, right? So, first question which I want to ask you is, you've already said a lot about it, but this question is very much the same, which you've already talked about. So, the question is, what is this book all about, and why should people read this book? What do you think? I mean, they will be getting if they read this book?
Okay, as I told you, the first and the foremost reason for reading this book must be for common people is to see the fresh version of the problems. So we all want to sideline all these problems. We want to overpower these long persisting problems in our society. We want to throw them out from the country. But what we are doing is that we are trying to attempt it with already used tools, instruments, which are no longer effective at all. So this book, through this context, not only deals with the possible instruments which can be used for eliminating all these concerns, and also it talks about that if you deal with this in a different way, in a more fresh manner, then I think it will be very easy for the problem to be chased out. Because right now we know that India is already the most populous country,
Yeah.
and therefore it is utmost important for all the population to be uh, at least having a sense of responsibility. And it is only possible when they know exactly where the country is leading or heading. And if they don't know, then I think to talk about this all solution and the problems, elimination would be almost an impossible task for everyone. So the book only talks about कि come and read. और सबसे बड़ी बात इसमें क्या है कि बुक एक ये चीज भी बताती है कि हर बार जो हमको इंसान बोलता है कि जैसे कि करप्शन के बारे में किसी ने कुछ बोला तो हम उसको एकदम से सच मान के बैठ जाते हैं और करप्शन को उसी तरीके से देखते हैं जिस तरीके से हमसे कुछ लोग बोल देते हैं, कुछ कम्युनिटी बोल देती है, और उसके आगे हम एक तरीके से बढ़ नहीं पाते अपनी सोच में. तो इफ समवन कम्स एंड टेल्स मी दैट करप्शन इज दिस, then I will only limit my understanding about this corruption. I will not be able to go to the root cause of the corruption. I'll be dangling and hovering on the surface, floating on the surface. And in this way, सबसे ज्यादा फायदा किसको होता है? पॉलिटिशियंस का, जो हाईएस्ट पोजीशंस पे बैठे हुए हैं,
या फिर वो लोग जो बहुत बड़े बिजनेसमैन हैं, वो दे द टाइकून्स एक्चुअली,
हाँ.
दे सब they get a lot of benefits from the government.
Yeah.
These are the people, right, who get a lot of benefits from
Right,
the
right,
government, right?
right.
And that's why they're supported by the government, and they themselves also support the
Right,
government.
right,
Yes.
right. तो ये सारी चीजें हो जाती हैं, तो ये सारी चीजें हमें इस बुक से मिल जाएगी. एक बार पढ़ने के बाद हमें ये मालूम पड़ जाएगा कि this book will teach us exactly how we must understand the problem, how must we see the problem first. Because until you see the problem in a rightful manner, the way it should be, I think it is impossible to hit it in a rightful manner. Because our main purpose is not just to limit ourselves with the awareness of the problems persisting for several years, बट ऑल्सो टू बी थिंकिंग अबाउट कि इसको कैसे हम यहाँ से हटा सकते हैं, किस तरीके से इसको पूरी तरीके से खत्म कर सकते हैं. चलो पूरी तरीके से भी नहीं खत्म कर सकते तो कुछ हद तक हम खत्म कर सकते हैं. बिकॉज द वे वी आर हेडिंग, it seems that the problem is still, I mean, nourished continuously by some handful people, and they are thriving it for their own personal purposes. So they let these things but right, but ultimately who gets benefit out of all this? The only handful people which I've already talked about. So even the 70 to 80% of the population is still remain unaffected, I mean affected brutally, devastatingly. So ये चीज हम लोगों को समझना चाहिए, और ये बुक अच्छे तरीके से इस चीज को हाईलाइट करती है.
सबसे बड़ी बात क्या है, what we lack in is we never try to know what the hidden agenda is.
Right, right.
So कई बार हमने देखा होगा कि जो वो बातें करते हैं, जो भी promises वगैरह करते हैं, this happens when the elections are going to take place, right?
Right.
और क्योंकि वो जानते हैं कि this is going to be beneficial for them, और अगर वो उस टाइम पे वो चीज़ नहीं करेंगे जो वास्तव में वो चाहते हैं गवर्नमेंट से, तो वो शायद फिर वो बात नहीं बन पाएगी, तो वो चाहते हैं कि ना ऐसे ऐसे बातें कर दी जाएं, और दे नो वे टू हिट पीपल, राइट। और अगर वो ये जानते हैं तो ऐसी बातें करते हैं जो हमें टच करती है हमारे इमोशंस को, और पीपल आर, यू नो, वी ह्यूमंस आर इमोशनल क्रीचर्स, राइट। तो अगर हमें वो कोई बात, वी आर ऑलवेज लुकिंग फॉर अ शोल्डर टू क्राई ऑन, राइट। तो उनको मिल जाता है वो ऐसा कोई इंसान वैसी बातें करने वाला, तो वो दे आर बॉट इनटू दैट, राइट। वो उसमें उनके उसमें बह जाते हैं, दे गेट कैरिड अवे विद इमोशंस। वो ये नहीं समझ पाते हैं कि why they are talking this way, they're only giving, they're only paying lip services to them, right। so देख, एक और जो क्वेश्चन बनता है वो ये बनता है इस बुक से, that you gotta tell me what is mistaken modernity in context of Indian people।
Okay, see, mistaken modernity is the highlight of the book
Mm-hmm.
because it is the center argument of the book.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what do we understand about this or from this mistaken modernity is one simple thing. Uh, Dipankar Gupta talks about first modernity.
Mm.
He talks about that we Indians somewhere criticize modernity because the way we see modernity, we only limit it to the surface point, to the surface level.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, the utilization of the modernity must have been for some reason we miss
Mm.
just because of we haven't understood what modernity is all about.
Yeah.
So let's say अगर किसी से हम पूछते हैं कि modernity होती क्या है,
Mm-hmm.
so people will end up saying modernity is all about advancement in technologies,
Mm-hmm.
good education system,
Mm-hmm.
and people having sense of responsibility
Mm.
or something like this. But they will be dangling on the surface, floating on the surface.
Mm-hmm.
If this is what the modernity is all about, which means if you have technology and this technology is somewhere helping you to bring out a little comfort in your life or help you certain things to grow up, to thrive up your business in a society, and that what it is modernity. यहाँ पर दीपांकर गुप्ता बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट बात बोलते हैं जो हम लोगों को समूह को जानना चाहिए, ये कि ही टॉक्स अबाउट मॉडर्निटी इज नॉट अबाउट दिस व्हाट डू वी नो। सो जो अभी तक मैंने कहा है वो मॉडर्निटी एग्जैक्टली में है नहीं। देन व्हाट इट इज, देन ही सेज whatever we know about this modernity is not the modernity but the outcome of the modernity. So for
Okay.
example, when we talk about technological advancement,
Mm-hmm.
and when we try to see it in the Indian context, the first thing we learn that Indian technological understanding and its research is very abysmally low comparing to Western countries, right? So then the next question comes in or arises, why other countries are so well skilled and very much adapted to this kind of technologies that they are continuously producing new technologies, and our country as India continuously fails. So our dependency on technology is somewhere increasing day by day on Western countries because we have not been manufacturer of any of the devices. So we are talking and dealing and asking for the help every single time. तो अब बात यहाँ पर उठती है कि वो ऐसा क्या कर रहे हैं जो ये सारी चीजें टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट ये आसानी से सीख लेते हैं, एंड दे आर नॉट ओनली जस्ट लर्निंग, they are producing new technologies every single day. So what makes them do this? I mean, are they intellectually very dominating over or where their education system is something different from us? This might be issues, this might be possibly reasons for this, बस इसके अलावा और भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बात है जो वो बोलते हैं, वो ये बोलते हैं कि modernity is not about technological advancement. First of all, technological advancement is a result of modernity. Okay, so whatever the comfort we see is a result of modernity. Then what modernity is all about? Then he says modernity is all about four things. So he lays down 3 to 4 important pillars or 4 important essentials. वो 4 important essentials कौन से हैं? Modernity means importance to individuality first. मतलब हर एक इंसान को उसको हर एक इंसान को एक इज्जत के साथ देखा जाना चाहिए फर्स्ट,
उसकी एक पहचान होनी चाहिए।
पहचान होनी चाहिए, पहचान इन द सेंस कि ही मस्ट बी ट्रीटेड इक्वली नाइसली। ओके, सेकंड इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग ही टॉक्स अबाउट, देयर मस्ट बी अ सेंस ऑफ अकाउंटेबिलिटी अमंग दोज हु होल्ड पोजीशन। मतलब जो इंसान के पास पावर एंड पोजीशन है उसके अंदर सेंस ऑफ अकाउंटेबिलिटी होनी चाहिए। तीसरी बात कि यूनिवर्सल जो नॉर्म्स और रूल्स होते हैं people must be abiding by this. If, for example, there are certain universal rights, for example, human rights, right? And like health pertaining things are
Education
all
and all.
included. Yes, educations are all constituted as यूनिवर्सल राइट. तो इसमें सारी कंट्रियां, इसमें नहीं कि इंडिया या और कोई सी कंट्री, सारी कंट्रियां क्या होनी चाहिए, दे ऑल मस्ट बी कंप्लाइंग टू ऑल दिस काइंड्स ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन. देयर शुड नॉट बी इफ एंड बट. एंड द फोर इंपॉर्टेंट पिलर ही टॉक्स अबाउट कि इसमें सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट बात क्या होनी चाहिए, परफॉर्मेंस मस्ट बी चोजन ओवर individual privilege. Means it doesn't matter person comes from which background, caste, creed, but if that person deserves to be on
then
the
he
top
should be
position,
given
he should be
everything
he should
that
be
he deserves.
whatever he deserves, and he should be at least given that respect. So ये चार इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है. अब सबसे बड़ी बात इंपॉर्टेंट ये होती है कि हम लोगों के लिए लग रहा है ये बहुत आसानी चीज है, लेकिन मैं एग्जांपल के साथ इसको जैसे समझो कि when we talk about sense of accountability, what does it mean by sense of accountability, and especially in the context of those powerfully positioned people. So what do we see in our country, and then we will try to compare it what happens in Western countries and why do we call it modernity there. So what happens कि हमारी कंट्री के अंदर होता क्या है कि whenever we meet any person, or let's say we just learn through news channels or through medias, कि just for the sake of position or just for the sake of power or just for the sake of anything, our politicians or rich class or elite section really don't care about the basic norms. They are almost free to flout rules, and they disregard every rules whatever, and they do it with the power of money.
Yes.
And they go get scot free, मतलब उस करने के बाद वो छूट भी जाते हैं.
yes.
तो इसका मतलब क्या है कि for example if I am walking around here and I'm, let's say, what this is what happened with me a few days back. I was there running in my evening hours in a ground, and there was a kind of a procession, political procession going on. Now this ground was specifically designed for running, jogging, and everything. Now all of a sudden what happens, right in the same ground, it started cracking, fire busting, right? And it all happened just because of some leader came in a riot. So out of this kind of encouragement, out of this kind of support that we deal in India, giving support and taking help, something like this, many people, I mean, started busting and all these firecrackers. Now after 5 or 10 minutes, the entire region was completely engulfed in smoke.
Smoke, yes.
Right. Now, it was really hazardous at that point of time. So me personally was thinking, I mean, do I have a right to file a case against them? Or do I have a right to even go to the police station? Or बोलूं कि भाई ये ऐसे कैसे कर सकते हैं? Who gave them right to even, I mean, burst firecracking in such a public place? And don't these people hold any sense of responsibility, accountability? They hold position.
They are the representative. I think they should be more responsible than us.
Yes, they should be more responsible. Now the next thing comes in when I relate, and when I relate it with what happens in Western countries, and then we will try to understand and relate it what modernity is all about. वहां पर अपन जाते हैं, then people whosoever they are, irrespective of their position, they cannot do it very easily. They have to take permissions 1,000 times before they conduct certain kinds of programs, especially in public places. Second important thing, what about individual importance?
Yes.
What do we see in India right now? Even you have money a little bit, okay, and you have done all instructions. I mean, you have followed all possible instructions, and for that reasons, you anyhow thrown in a particular kind of queue. जहाँ तुम खड़े हो जाते हो अपने बारी के लिए. But what do you see after 5 minutes? Then one person comes after you, hour after you, and he takes all the benefits, and he gets more importance than you.
Yes.
So what it shows, I mean, when do we see it from the glass of modernity? What it shows is that you are individual. It's okay. Maybe you are good enough in your financial position, through your family position, but still there is someone else who is bigger than you and who can overpower you, dominate you in this way. So there is a loss of self-respect, first of all.
Yes.
We people really don't mind it, but if you see it through the glass, as I told you, modernity, this is clear-cut humiliation on one by the other because of someone is more dominating. So ये बहुत एक important बात है जो ये बुक बताती है कि जो हम इंडिविजुअल को इम्पोर्टेंस देते हैं वो यहाँ पर है ही नहीं. लेकिन if you go to America, so for say there are temples also there in America. No matter what, who you are, president or prime minister, if you come late, you will have to wait. But here in India, no matter what, if you are rich enough, well positioned enough, or you have a certain kind of support from some political leaders or some high class people,
You won't wait.
You won't wait. Even when thousands people are waiting
Everything
for.
will be arranged for you.
I give you one example of what happened in Kumbh Mela. We understood everything. So there was a passage for common people where crores of people were passing by, and what that stampede took place, we all know. Thousands of people, got that. Obviously, they killed in that particular stampede. But we designed a special road for this handful people just because of they were elite. And they were given all possible amenities which were really important, considered important to all these sections. In fact, the entire place was designed where these people could come and take a dip, a plunge into the water, and it was completely separated from the main river Ganga. So ये चीज एक बहुत important बताती है कि आपकी individuality at stake, and when you face certain situation, you know that yes, you are being humiliated, but the worst part of it, you cannot do anything. You cannot do anything. But opposite thing happens. Very contrary. When you go to America, you have at least a right. And the power is given to you, commissioned to you, that even if someone does anything to you, let him be a prime minister of the or the president or the any cabinet minister. You have a right to go to the police station and you can file a case against him, that person, and process kicks off or begins in the same way as it happens with some common people. तो ये कितनी बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट बात है जो हम यार दिस इज व्हाट इज कॉल्ड मॉडर्निटी. सो Dipankar Gupta is talking about this modernity to be understood first. And once we understand this modernity, generally, most people understand this modernity first, automatically it will reflect the behavior, the attitude, the positive behavior. And this will then lead to development. Development will include then technology and education system and things being easily accessed to all these or by all these sections, which hitherto was somewhere not given that much chance. So ये सारी चीज इंपॉर्टेंट है, तो इसलिए ये मॉडर्निटी यहाँ पर कॉन्सेप्ट जो बताया गया है, इस तरीके से बताया गया है. 4 इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स को याद रखो, जो बेसिक पॉइंट्स है. अगर मॉडर्निटी का आधार उसको बना लिया और उसको समझ लिया, तो एग्जैक्टली मैं मॉडर्निटी को प्रैक्टिस कर रहे होंगे. दीपंकर गुप्ता ये बात करता है.
So we do have these rules in our constitution, but they are in name only.
Yes.
Especially for people like people who are very ordinary, people who are middle class, I would say. So they have rights, but they don't have right in real sense, right? Next thing which I want to ask you is, tell me a Indian face of globalization. What do you understand by it? You have to just comment on it.
India face of globalization. So, we are already in the 21st century and we claim to be in the global race. Everyone claims, so do we. There is nothing as wrong to be claiming to be in the global race. But Dipankar Gupta talks about few things that, yes, okay, you can claim it, but you have to see certain realities. See, first of all, India is a developing country, not developed country. So there has to be a way which has to be understood first, and then we need to talk about it, because to be claiming something is one thing, but to be perceiving the reality is a different thing. So when do we see the reality, which is ghastly? And I think for common people, they don't understand what is the exact reality, but those who are sitting in the top position, they know exactly the reality, but just because of, as long as the things are advancing to a certain kind of benefits to this section of people, they let it go at the cost of the nature, at the cost of the public interest, whatsoever it is. तो यहाँ पर ग्लोबलाइजेशन के बारे में क्या बात करते हैं दीपांकर गुप्ता, बहुत अच्छी बात बोलते हैं कि we need to first understand what globalization is. He points out two things: one, internationalization, number one, and the second, globalization. He defines internationalization as different countries coming together in a group and dealing with their interest. And all these countries in a one group trying to support each other's position so that each of the countries could develop and could come out of their previous stage, right? This is called internationalization, and which is quite positive according to Dipankar Gupta, because if you do a certain thing for your country which ensures development, progress, growth, then it's well good because ultimately we want it. On the other hand, Dipankar Gupta talks about globalization. In globalization, Dipankar Gupta usually highlights consumerism. And it also talks about that it has got no connection to any country's specific growth or development or certain thing. इसका मतलब क्या है कि दीपंकर गुप्ता यहाँ पर ये बोलते हैं कि हमको ग्लोबलाइजेशन की जगह इंटरनेशनलाइजेशन की तरफ ज्यादा मोड़ होना चाहिए। ग्लोबलाइजेशन का मतलब क्या है कि आज के समय में जो सिनेरियो बना हुआ है व्हाट इज दिस कि इट डील्स विद कंज्यूमरिज्म means for example India is a country of 1.4 billion people. Yeah. And according to the last data one can understand and learn that still 65 to 70% people live still in rural area. So according to this data we can say we have still a large number of population dealing with daily livelihoods problems and the challenges. Because we know the condition of villages already. Yes. Only 28 to 30% people we can say that they are in an okay state, but not still comparing to the Western countries. Yeah. They are still suffering from from this kind of financial crisis, and even they are not being given this kind of nutrition properly. So वहां पर भी ये सारी चीजें दिक्कत चल रही है. So what happens if we follow globalization? And this is very important. What happens when we follow globalization? We exactly try to follow the instructions of the global countries. Yes. Now, global countries include only countries which are dominating in nature. So, for example, we will have to abide by rules which are already thrown in to us to be complied by America, Europe, and there is no comparison between America and India. Their lifestyle is far different from our. Our problems are far different from there. Right? For example, we are fighting and battling for education system. They are fighting and battling for the next level education system. So what do we get as an education system today will be still insignificant, meager for that section of people. तो हम इतने पीछे हैं उनसे अभी. तो अब होता क्या है कि when we follow globalization, तो इसके अंदर क्या हो globalization के अंदर कि certain product is produced or manufactured. Because we are not that manufacturing country. We all admit this. We don't manufacture anything. We are only still the agriculture country. Because 60% of the total population is still dependent on agriculture profession, directly or indirectly. तो इससे क्या समझ में आता है कि अभी भी हम एग्रीकल्चरली इंक्लाइंड कंट्री है. अब वहां से जितनी भी सारी चीजें बन के आती हैं, and that all manufactured on the basis of whether it ensures profit to the manufacturer or not. Yeah. For example, there are some best companies of cars in America or in different countries, right? So what do? They manufacture cars and they try to export it to India. Now we go and purchase it. Sometimes we invite these companies to come and establish their business here in the name that they will actually open up scope for the job opportunities for the common people. It's okay. इसमें कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है कि वो यहाँ पर आके कंपनी खोलता है मैं जॉब मिलती है. लेकिन exactly are they hitting the very root problem of this country or not? No, they are not hitting the root problem of the country. क्योंकि यहाँ पर बात ये हो रही है कि जो आप चीज प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हो दिस इज एग्जैक्टली आउट ऑफ द रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ 70% and more percentage of the people. For example, the kind of car you are manufacturing and trying to manufacture in India and you are selling it here in India, I mean, it is unaffordable for more than 70 to 75% of the people. Yes, yes. Because the requirement is something different. But what happens इस चीज के अंदर ग्लोबलाइजेशन के अंदर so where the government must bring focus on the reasonable concerns which are really important to be uprooted, especially for the purpose that government of the country could actually gain traction of growth of progress. वहां पर हमारा डेवलपमेंट नहीं हो पाता है और हम यहाँ पर बने के रह जाते हैं और हमारा जो लार्जर डेवलपमेंट स्कोप हो जाता है वो वहीं के वहीं दब जाता है. एक एग्जांपल के साथ मैं चीज को समझाना चाहता हूँ. फॉर एग्जांपल let's say there is a particular region and which is somewhere a place where more than around 100 families are living. Okay, and listen to this carefully. Out of this 100 families, 5 families are extremely rich, considered to be elite, super elite. They can afford all sorts of amenities for them, all sorts of comfort for them. Okay, while the others 95 houses or the families are completely living not under the poverty line, but still they cannot afford many things. and they are living like very with struggle, a lot of struggle. Like they have to struggle hard for just meeting up with their routine requirements.
Yes.
Now comes out a situation where government has to take a decision. We have to construct a particular kind of school for all that families, which is 100 number of families, so family was clear. So now government has option. So government will then think what kind of education system we must advance to them. We must give them. Should we construct such a school with high facilities available, which could only, be open for this five families? Or should we go for a school system which could only be afforded by the remaining section of the people? अब गवर्नमेंट यहाँ पे ग्लोबलाइजेशन के अंदर क्या करेगी? अगर ग्लोबलाइजेशन चल रहा होगा, गवर्नमेंट विल थिंक अबाउट फर्स्ट प्रॉफिट. So let's say it decides to construct a certain kind of school or building which demands 5 lakh rupees per month salary, fee from particular student. So out of five families, they ensure that 25 lakh rupees they are ready to pay for that school. But on the other side, government also talks that if they create another possibilities where they construct one more building, the first building, where it will only need 1 lakh rupees per month for from this, then in this condition क्या होगा कि वो 75% लोग हैं वो 1 लाख रुपए वहां पर पे नहीं कर पाएंगे. अब वो 75 लोग हैं जो 1 लाख रुपए पे नहीं कर पाएंगे, लेकिन गवर्नमेंट को फायदा कहां से हो रहा है? उन पांच लोगों से. Then government will never think about meeting up with the expectations and the need of the 75 families, and the government will go to switch to the demands of that five families. क्यों? क्योंकि वहां से उसको फायदा हो रहा है, यहाँ से इनको कोई भी फायदा नहीं हो रहा. तो ये होता है ग्लोबलाइजेशन. Therefore, the entire globalization, according to Dipankar Gupta, is based on consumerism. It detaches country from its true progress growth of the path. Okay, and therefore government Dr. Dipankar Gupta says कि हम लोगों को इसमें डिफरेंशिएट करना आना चाहिए. इंटरनेशनलाइजेशन एक चीज होती है और ग्लोबलाइजेशन इज द अदर थिंग, एंड वी मस्ट फोकस ऑन इंटरनेशनलाइजेशन फर्स्ट until we become developed countries, just like America or other countries. And once we ensure that we are developed countries, then we can gradually take a shift to becoming a globalized country. तो उसके बाद सब एक तरीके से एक्सेप्टेबल चीज होगा. ये है फेस ऑफ ग्लोबलाइजेशन अकॉर्डिंग टू दीपंकर गुप्ता इन बुक मिस्टेकन मॉडर्निटी.
तो जो बोला हुआ है दीपंकर गुप्ता ने पूरा वो मिडिल क्लास को लेकर है, बिकॉज एलिट क्लास तो ऑलरेडी अलग हो गया है, राइट. वो तो दे आर बीइंग बेनिफिटेड फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट, और गवर्नमेंट भी उनको बेनिफिट हो रही है, एंड दे कैन अफोर्ड ऑल दोस थिंग्स बिकॉज दे हैव इनफ मींस टू मीट ऑल द रिक्वायरमेंट्स ऑफ देयर्स. सो नाउ वी यू हैव मेड इट वेरी क्लियर. और जैसे कि दीपंकर गुप्ता ने बोला हुआ है कि और इट इज ऑल अबाउट मिडिल क्लास, और मिडिल क्लास ही ज्यादा अफेक्टेड होता है because वही है, they are living they're always trying to survive, right. और इसलिए वो ज्यादा badly affected होते हैं. एक और क्वेश्चन जो इससे बनता है वो ये बताया, let's talk about corruption because we know that corruption is the main cause, I would say, because we know that our country is fast developing, और ये और भी अच्छा हो सकता है, एंड वी विल बिकम डेवलप्ड इन नो टाइम इफ एवरीथिंग इज गोइंग ऑन फाइन, नोबडी इज करप्ट. तो फिर वो जो दिन है वो काफी ज्यादा दूर नहीं है. बट द मेन प्रॉब्लम इज दैट पीपल आर वेरी करप्ट, एंड दिस करप्शन इज द ओनली हिंड्रेंस इन आर बीइंग डेवलप्ड. सो वो इसी की हम बात कर रहे हैं जो बुक में बात करी गई है. सो इट्स ऑल अबाउट करप्शन एंड patronage. So would you say something about what Dipankar Gupta has said about corruption and patronage in India?
Okay, corruption and patronage. Let's understand कि in India we know what corruption is because it is pervasive in all sorts of department. So to say that we don't know corruption, I think is not acceptable. But what don't we know this is that what is the root cause of this corruption? So ultimately we end up cursing people who corrupt. But we don't know is that even the person who is criticizing corruption, who's cursing corruption, if the same person gets position in a society, he will become corrupt itself. So as long as you are not the benefactor of this corruption, you will curse corruption. At the time you are listed in the beneficiary list, you will start liking it.
ऐसा बोला जाता है कि ईमानदार वही है जब तक इसको मौका ना मिला.
बस यही
Once
बात,
you get a chance, then
बस
you also try to do the same.
बिल्कुल यही बात दीपांकर गुप्ता बोल रहे हैं कि हमारे कंट्री में सबसे बड़ी यही बात होती है। अब बात ये वो आगे ये बात अपने बोलते हैं कि पैट्रोनेज, व्हाट इज पैट्रोनेज? Patronage in India is often, I think, overlooked. It is not given or seen with priority. But the root cause of the corruption is patronage, according to Dipankar Gupta. Because if a person who is qualified to a certain position, then he will decide to whom he should share resources with. What do we understand by sharing resources with other people? It is very easy to say that in India, the person who reaches to the highest position, it also means the same person has power to manipulate. And the same person also holds power to use that natural resources according to his whims and fancies. Now, this person decides which category of people must be listed in the beneficiary list. Now, there comes a situation where people start competing to basically gain benefits through his position. And for this particular thing, what this section of people does, they will start giving money, and that is what is called underfunding. वो अब पैसे देने लगते हैं उनको just because of कि उनका काम पहले से बन जाए. So this is called patronage, which means कि you hold a certain position, but you will decide whom should be given the benefit of this position. But who wants to take benefit of this position will first ensure that he will advance certain kind of benefits to the one who holds position. The same thing happens in politics department. The same things happen in all sorts of department today. So it is basically, I think, accepted in India. If you are relatives to a certain highly positioned person, then I think you will be the first to take the benefits.
This is called nepotism.
Yes, it is called nepotism. In fact, nepotism is differently and separately discussed in the same book. I will come to you later, but what he talks about in this, ki as long as you are somewhere affiliated or attached to that person, it doesn't mean that you have to be just claiming him through your blood relationship. Even if you have money little in your pocket, then throwing money, you can also avail help for you. And you can bypass those millions of people standing before you in the line, as I told you earlier. तो ये एक पैटर्नेज का सबसे बड़ा खतरनाक काम हो जाता है हमारी इंडिया के अंदर. And this what Dipankar Gupta, I mean, highly curses about. Now the second thing he wants to talk about, India is still today is not able to recognize nepotism is itself a kind of corruption. What is nepotism? What Dipankar Gupta says, nepotism is a privilege and it sidelines individual ability. So when someone of my family has done something great in his life, then he will ensure the benefits to be continuously shared with my people coming in my line forever, irrespective of that person who comes up after me having a same level of ability or having a certain kind, level of competency or sufficiency, or whether that person is skilled enough or not. It doesn't matter at all. These questions are never discussed. So what is discussed is that your connection is sufficient to be in the list of beneficiaries. And we still are not talking about, so for example, what happens with especially in Bollywood industries. We know that there are only a few people who run the entire Bollywood. And we earlier, our fathers were enjoying the movies of their fathers. And now we are enjoying the sons of their fathers. What exactly we can say? And according to us, they are the only real heroes for us because we haven't given opportunity to see some other people in the list. Possible could be.
Yes.
Just because they don't get that much kind of chances. Yes, sometimes out of just kind of little pressure when builds up, because we gradually, middle class people gradually are becoming aware about the real root cause, and they start counting all these root cause, and therefore they keep like highlighting often, because these days I think very easy to connect to the people through your internet, and it is very easy to, I mean, expose someone. So it has become a little bit, pressurized for that section of people, and therefore they keep giving, some sort of benefits to some people who really don't belong to any kind of film industry. I'm not talking about just film industry. It includes
it is
every.
prevalent, prevalent everywhere.
It is prevalent in all sorts of departments.
Yes.
तो ये जो अपनी ये वाली बात करते हैं, ये वाली कि किस तरीके से हम इस चीज को देखते हैं, दीपंकर गुप्ता, कि हम कभी भी पेट्रोनेज की बात नहीं करते, कभी भी हम किसकी बात नहीं करते कि किस तरीके से करप्शन अपना नेपोटिज्म के थ्रू फैलता है, उस पर कभी हम हाईलाइट नहीं करते, जबकि ये
Yes.
सबसे बड़े सोर्सेज रहते हैं। सबसे बड़ा जो मेरिट की सबसे बड़ी, द बिगेस्ट मर्डरर ऑफ द मेरिट इन आवर कंट्री इज नथिंग बट नेपोटिज्म itself. I mean, he also talks about what the families of rich people. I mean, he goes on comparing the families of billionaires of living in India and billionaires living in abroad. So, for example, he highlights the family of Mukesh Ambani. He says that there is a vast difference in the families of Mukesh Ambani and the family of other big companies, especially in abroad. In India, you can say that all those highest positions in Reliance Industries are acquired by only their son. So the chairman, the executive director would always be their son, daughter, and they never appoint anyone out of the claim, personal family claim. Yes. And they do it just because of they want limit the benefits to be shared among their family members, because they don't want to share with other people. But when you compare it with Apple companies or other countries, you can say that their CEO is not just an American origin. Sometimes Indian origins are appointed. Yeah. Therefore, the advancement, the technologies develop, I mean, at a very rapid pace, I think is one of those biggest concern, which is I mean, devastatingly affected by this kind of nepotism. So he highlights this very point, which I think people, I mean, fail to see this or what. Yeah.
Sundar Pichai and Satya Nadella are the example. They are from India, but they are CEO there.
They are CEO there, and what do? We usually take a credit of their being Indians first, and they are still appointed to these number of big companies in India. He talks about that American companies, Chinese companies, or European companies are the bigger companies, not just because of they are from developed countries. They are because they are very open up on the merit level, because they really don't compromise with the basic principle that what we are talking about, the universal norm. Yes. So the universal norm also includes this very factor, that if you really want a particular business to thrive and flourish, and the benefit must be shared with entire humanity, yes, then for this you have to come out of this attachment of your own for your own kith and kin.
So whosoever is deserving must be given a chance.
Yes, whosoever is deserving must be given a chance. And I think where we somewhere brutally
I'm reminded of one incident that happened in my life. There was a vacancy, and I went there. I applied, and then I went there, and I found that they had already selected somebody, and then they were just doing formality. They asked me for a resume, and then I submitted my resume, and the kind of questions he was asking me was, they were useless, because they had already, appointed somebody.
Right, right.
And because the person they appointed was, somewhere related to them, and that's why they gave this opportunity to him.
Right, right.
They don't really see whether the person is deserving or not. They simply want to see whether this person is going to be benefited from our position or not. And if it happens, then they will do that. I mean, they can even afford they can incur losses, but they will not be giving a chance to somebody who can turn the company around. This is not actually going to happen especially in India. So this nepotism is, I would say, well established. This
Right.
is well embedded in the minds of Indians, right? The last but not the least, the question is, tell me, what do you say about this abuse of religion? Because in India, yes, this is a power, but at the same time, this will also be, abused. This is also going to be abused, or this is also being abused by some people in India, and this is how these people are getting benefited. They are, they are. I would say they are basking in,
Yeah.
and I would say they are basking in. How should I say this? I mean, they're taking all the advantage,
Yes.
and other people
Other
are having to suffer.
Yes, yes.
Right. So, what do you think? I mean, we are always. Uh, we are made to we are made like puppet. We
Right,
are
right.
being played,
Right.
we are being, they're playing with our emotions. They know these people are religious, so we
Right,
can
right.
we can make them do things, and because they will not be questioning. So this is what happens in India, because we are religious, and we always think if we go against it, this is going to be quite against our principle. So this is something which holds them back. So what do you say about it? I mean, keeping the book
Yes, sir.
into consideration.
Okay, there is one writer called Manu Joseph, and he writes one book with the name Why Poor People Don't Kill Us. And he highlights one interesting thing in this book where he says that in India, uh, poor people are not poor just because of they don't do hard work. They are poor just because of some handful people are overly unjustly corrupt that they never let the benefits to be shared with that community. So this is certain thing which really keeps every time whenever I see the ongoing situation, and I'm able to relate it with Mistaken Modernity, says written by Dipankar Gupta. He also says a similar line, and he also deals with a similar line. I mean, today in India, uh, religion is considered to be the foremost cause of the degrowth of India or deprogress of India. I am not telling it on the context of the insufficiency of religion. Religion can never be insufficient. In fact, religion is only there to make you complete.
Yes.
But how it happens is just because we misuse religion, and therefore he mentions abuse of religion. So abusing of religion means that what is the major purpose of religion? So when do we read Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana? All we learn one thing, that religion is possibly talking about how to gain spiritual height, and we can make our life more peaceful. So one thing is sure, that it never deals with materialism. It never deals with pomp and show lifestyle. It never deals with lavish lifestyle. What it deals with is how you can minimize your need and maximize your efforts to bring and ensure human welfare for the mankind. Right? This is what it teaches. Now, what happens when you, as a leader, as a person, when you are responsible for a large number of people, feel that this religion could be used it as a tool, and when you misuse it for the purpose of personal benefit, then it comes that yes, you are doing abuse of religion. For
Yes.
example, today religion is not used for the purpose at it is mentioned, and it proposes what is proposed by Bhagavad Gita or other scriptures, even Vedas. It is not the reason for which we are using and practicing religion. So, for what purpose we are practicing religion? We are showing religion and practicing religion to show gathering, unity, or to dominate certain other community.
Yes.
So, these are the reasons for which we are trying to be religious. In the name of religion, we prove our dominance. Then, who gets benefit out of this is those who manipulate with this religion, because they manipulate with this religion and they lead the large section of people to understand कि यही है जो है, or this is where you have to take pride in. One more important thing he also talks about, which is really interesting and one must see this, कि वो ये बोलते हैं साथ में कि in India large section of people, as I told you, come from a very humble background. Humble includes poor family or middle class family, and when they know that they don't have power, and when they compare themselves with the people sitting at the higher position, then sometimes it becomes frustrating being human, because we are also carrying a big load of ego. We cannot satisfy our ego because
Yes.
we are not spiritualistic, first of all, spiritual. So to subdue this very emotion of the ego, I think it is not possible for a common person, because we are first of all misusing religion, so it is just like out of scope. अब इसके बाद होता क्या है कि when you can't do this, then what is there for you that could give you intense pleasure, or at least a kind of notion? You will start thinking you are powerful. So religion then gives you this very notion, the perception that you are powerful. So then comes what? This very idea of culture of this country. So today it is highly relatable. Today we are talking more about our cultural history as how India was in 3000 years back. We are not ready to talk about how we are suffering now and how the large section of people taking privilege and taking credit of all, which is good. Every person must take a pride in their root from where they come. But when this very approach tries to dominate the very future, then you are trying to put the future at stake, and this is what is happening. One more thing which is also highlighted, every country is shaped not by the idea of the people, but by the policies they make. Yes. So today, the kind of policies we create and the make in the Parliament House reflect the entire condition of the India. So, for example, what are the policies being discussed mostly in India? Rarely people talking about education system. Rarely people talking about uh, research and development and the investment in the research and development. How we can create more opportunities for better understanding, for better education system, and it to be made accessible to the largest section of people. No one is talking about. But what we are talking about is this: how we can create a certain kind of statue, and how we can create a certain kind of temple, mosque, and everything. I'm not being religious here. I'm also religious, by the way. But the thing is, what is the requirement at this point of time? Something which you carry as a bag and baggage from your past, which is highly important, which gives you identity, strong identity. But if you decide to misuse it in this way, then you are going to suffer a lot. So, who is going to suffer a lot is not that who are doing manipulation with these all kind of religion out of emotions, because they make people highly emotional and they take the benefits out of it. I give you one example of Anurag Thakur, a BJP parliament member. Yes. Recently, what happens in the parliament, and he's trolled for this reason, and he must be trolled for this reason. Now, he carries a big tika on his forehead, and he always shows himself to be a staunch Hindu follower, which is good. Everyone does this. Everyone must do this. लेकिन उसने क्या करा कि he was, I mean, Anwar Thakur, he stands up in the parliament house while talking or particular, I mean, doing a certain kind of argument on a particular topic, and he is wearing a belt. Okay. And the belt cost is around 75 to 80,000 rupees. But what is more in this belt is that the manufacturing takes the skin of cow. Okay. First, the cow is slaughtered. Leather. It was made of leather. Yes, it's made of leather, right? So many people say that this is cow's skin or beef skin, whatever this can say. But it is for sure that it is something of this. We cannot take a guarantee of what it is, but it was something because it cost around 50 to 50, 60,000 rupees. And therefore, he realized that something might be shown, then he started hiding it. So this is the hypocrisy of our leaders. Yes. So mistaken modernity, through mistaken modernity, Dipankar Gupta highlights we need to be aware of the real situations, the real problems. Religion is a different thing. Religion is for your spiritual gain. Religion is for your internal peace. Religion is for your how you can be peaceful even with the minimal resources available to you. Yes. It is never, it never means that it will ensure you certain kind of development. What happens in जो अपना हुआ था अभी पहलगाम 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 में अभी सबसे बड़ा जो हुआ था ना क्या कहते हैं यार अरे यार अटैक हुआ था अटैक नहीं हुआ था अभी सबसे बड़ा प्रोग्राम हुआ था ना इंडिया के अंदर नाम ही भूल गया उसका भी मैंने रिसेंटली को बोला था समथिंग लाइक दिस ओके सो कितने लोग मर गए थे उसके अंदर जो स्टैम्पीड हुआ था कितने लोग उसके अंदर मर गए थे बिकॉज दीज पीपल वर हाईली इमोशनली गवर्न्ड एंड दे वर फोर्स्ड टू बिलीव दिस ठीक है ना तो ये सारी चीजें कैसे होती हैं बिकॉज वी मेक पीपल बिलीव इन दिस वे एंड हु डज सो this section of people and their own family members they themselves are not following what they are not themselves following everything and it is said that you have to practice what you preach yes. But are you doing that if you're not doing that then you are a hypocrite ये वही तो नहीं करते हैं तो ये एक जो रिलीजियस का मिस यूज बताया हुआ है ये वाली मैं एक छोटी सी एग्जांपल बताता हूँ इसके बाद एग्जांपल बता के ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एग्जांपल है everyone loves cricket in our country right And when it comes to cricket, we start taking pride in this because cricket gives us recognition, right? It gives us world level recognition, acknowledgement. And I think Indian players have done remarkably good in the last 10 to 20 years, right? Now, apart from this recognition, what comes to the pocket of the people is huge amount of money, especially those section of people. Yeah. I think it's good because they do hard work and therefore they deserve it. We don't have any issue on this. But see the hypocrisy. When it comes to language, the same politicians come out and I mean, uh, promote a kind of notion where they teach and pressurize people, the youngster, to not to use English language because English language doesn't belong to us. It compromises with our cultural identity, and someone's language must not be adopted because it is a kind of it is a kind of insult, or it is a kind of disregarding one's own culture, which means that don't we have our own language, that we are using other language. Many leaders come out and say this. I'm not talking about their children's what they are doing in abroad. I'm not even dealing with this. But let's say cricket. Cricket doesn't belong to us either. Cricket is a gift to us through British people. But why do we play cricket? Just because of it helps us recognition, gives us recognition. Secondly, it gives us huge amount of money. Economy of the country is heavily positively affected by the cricket itself, because cricket is treated as the only game which is highly revered, or which is seen with great reverence in India. We never criticize it. We never curse cricket. We never even think about whether it belongs to us. And there we don't even talk about whether it is somewhere compromising on the cultural identity or not. We never talk about it because here the economic benefit somewhere heightens. Yes. I mean, comparing to the other games. So I always ask this question to many people. It's okay that someone has been given to us. Don't we think we have the ability and the capability to take this thing to the next level? As British gave us cricket, so we took it to the next level. So we actually somewhere enhanced, beautified the entire cricket game world. I mean, through the world, right? Yes. So everyone knows what is BCCI. We all know IPL season. People love to watch World Cups. They come from other countries and join IPL and then play for these teams. Right. So this is the thing which I'm trying to highlight is कि we only prefer those things to which we are benefited from. Yes, which we are benefited from, and that too economically. So something which gives us economic benefit or direct benefit, then it's good. Otherwise, it is okay to play politics on it and make people be somewhere deviated from the existing issues. So no one is talking about unemployment, no one is talking about education, no one is talking about how many people in India are still starving, even in a country where we ensure a best amount of export of this every agricultural stuff to the different countries. तो कितनी सारी चीजें हैं यहाँ पर, इन पे हम बात नहीं कर रहे, तो इसलिए बोलते हैं कि इंडिया की कंट्री जो is shaped not by the discussions that we hold, especially in the parliament, but by the policies you make. आप कौन सी policies बना रहे हो आप? And their implementation. And their implementation. आप अपने policy कुछ बनाइए. For example, it took a lot of time to have a discussion on certain kind of building must be constructed or not and or not. And once it is constructed, it's all over. अब उसके बाद कुछ दिक्कत नहीं है. तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बात है. एंड दीज आर द थिंग्स. ये बिल्कुल उसी की तरह है, किसी को somebody has been convicted बट बट उस पर डिसीजन नहीं हो पाया, तब तक उसकी एज हो गई एंड ही इज गॉन. अब देख रहे हैं कि ही वाज रियली कन्विक्ट. बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. तो यही है हमारा मिस्टेकन मॉडर्निटी. और आई विल ऑलवेज से कि वन मस्ट रीड मिस्टेकन मॉडर्निटी. दिस इज जस्ट 5% of the entire book. You will learn a lot of new things from the book. You will be amazed with the insight actually given in rightful context in the book, because it gives you, as I told you right in the beginning, fresh interpretation of the thing, where you'll be able to see the other side of the picture. This will discuss the same problem, the same concerns which were pervasive for the last 70 years. Yes. After soon after we got independence. But it has given further scope to not just analyze it, but to also find out the root cause of it, so that After finding the root cause, you can directly hit it and try to eliminate it.
Hmm. So this is something which we want to share with you. Now आपको पता है कि Mistaken Modernity में क्या क्या दिया हुआ है, and I think you must go and read it, read this book. Just buy your copy, and I think you should be reflecting,
Right.
and whatever is possible from your side, I think you should be trying to change the status quo, because
Right.
this is the requirement need of the hour. और अगर ऐसा भी अपने तरफ से कुछ contribution करने लगे, so I think the kind of problems we are faced with,
Right.
we will not have these problems in the days to come. But yes, सभी को responsible होना है, और केवल हमको पढ़ना ही नहीं है.
हाँ.
We should also be responsible citizen. और अगर responsible citizen बन गए, तो I don't think that we will be electing those people who are not at all going to deliver on their
Right,
promises, right? तो वो promises पर deliver नहीं करवाने, हम उनको शायद हम opt भी नहीं करेंगे और
Hmm.
elect भी नहीं करेंगे,
Right.
right? So this is something which we wanted to share with you, and we will be coming with the next video. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you want some deep discussions, because we always try our level best to make it more and more informative and more interesting. And with your encouragement, I think we'll be improving it more and more, right? तो ये तभी possible है जब हमें थोड़ा सा encouragement मिलेगा. Otherwise, when efforts are going waste, so this is a kind of discouragement for us, right? So we want you people to give us some help from your side. And how can you help us? Just by subscribing to our channel, and just don't forget to watch the videos till the last.
Right, right.
Because आपको अगर आपको लगता है कि वीडियो में क्या है, तो आपको तभी पता चलेगा जब आप उसको पूरा देखोगे. अगर
And at least register your presence with at least one comment.
And don't forget to leave your comments, because
Yes.
your comments will always keep us
Right.
on toe,
Yeah.
right? और नहीं तो फिर हमें लगेगा ही नहीं कि हमारा काम कैसा है और कैसा नहीं है.
Right.
तो this is a request from your side, sorry, from our side, and we want your your support,
Right.
because this is something which we badly needed,
Right.
right? So with this, I'm wrapping it up, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Till then, take care.